So it's G from Native Speakers Academy, and I'm sitting here with one of my students, Kristian. And you study, where do you study?
I studied in Holland, in the Netherlands.
Okay, and where are you studying now?
Now in Slovakia, here in Banska Bystrica, in Gymnasium Josefa Gregora Teuského.
Okay, and so what we're going to do, I'm going to ask you a few questions about your experiences in education, and we will explore the topic a little bit. So let's start with where you are now, the school that you're at now. How long have you been studying at that school?
2 years. This is the second year.
Oh, okay. And what are your feelings about the school? Is it a good school?
Yes, it's a very good school, but it's a bit hard.
Okay. Tell me more. Why is it hard?
Because we are learning in French. Now in the second year, we are learning the chemistry and the physics, the math. And in the third year, we are going also to study biology in French. So it's a bit different. It's more different than the normal one.
So it's more difficult than a general school.
Yes.
Okay. And you said that it's a good school. So how do you know that it's a good school?
Because I've heard, and my father said me that, and I know that there are many possibilities to go after I pass this school. I can go study to French or to Canada or to some states where I can use French. So I think it's useful.
So are some of the subjects that you study in school, do you study the subjects in French, in the French language?
Yes.
Okay, so do you study all the subjects in French, or?
No, as I said, in the second year I study chemistry and physics and math in French, and at the third year we are also going to study biology in French.
Okay. And what about the English language? Do you study English there as well?
Yes, now in the second year, yes, but in the first year we hadn't English because we had 4 hours per day French. So there was no space for English, but now we have less French, so I think we have 2 or 3 hours of English per week.
Okay. So is your French better than your English?
No, not yet.
But it will be if you continue to have so much.
I think it will be the same or better
Mm-hmm.
even.
Super. So you have been at that school for 2 years.
Yes.
And before that, where were you?
I was 2 years in a private school. It's called Škola u Filipa. And I can compare it with a normal primary school. And I think there are some things that are much better and some things that are not much better. Like in Slovakia you can say to the old people, I don't say hi, but I say good day. I say we.
You mean it's more formal?
Yes, more formal. In Slovakia we to friends I don't speak formal to friends. Also when I say hi to them in English, it's the same also all the time, but in Slovakia it's divided into groups, and in this school in the private one we we were with the teachers like friends, and we were using just the informal. And we were also talking about our problems more, and about what we liked about their teaching, and how can they get better. And it was the relationship between the students and the teachers was definitely in another way than in the normal private school, than in the normal school. But in the private school, the authority of the teachers was a bit better. Not a bit. It was just some of students they haven't got the limits, and they were talking to the teachers things that aren't normal, or some stuff like that.
Can you give me an example of that?
Like not kind words. They were using them. And
okay. So they were not polite to the teachers.
Yes, and the teachers couldn't get their authority.
So because the teachers didn't have so much authority there, maybe discipline was a little bit of a problem.
But we were going to some to the museums, we were also to England, and I think it was more practical, that not just to sit in the class and to write and to learn, but also to go somewhere to. When we learned in biology about some trees and stuff like that, we didn't learn it in class, but we were outside, and yes, it's more practical, I think.
And is it a big school or a small school?
I was when I came there, I was we were the first year which was open there. So we were every time the oldest. Also when we were in the seventh year, then we were to the 8th year, and then to the 9th. And so I'm the first. Me and my classmates were the first who finished the school, because it's a young school.
And do you think that you have some advantages because you went to the school?
Yes, I think so. Also, when we are learning about some things, I don't know now which one, but my classmates in the gymnasium, they know just the theory, and I can also to practice it, and they don't understand how. So there's a difference. There's a difference. But I think when there's a child in this type of school, the private, and then he finished the school, and the child has to continue to the gymnasium, and I think the child will be a bit shocked about the system, because it's really different, and like the style and the conversation with the teachers, and the homeworks, and also the lessons. The lessons were like not 45 minutes but 90, and I think it will be a shock for them.
Did you feel a shock when you went there?
No, because I was just 2 years there, and I knew how is it on the how is it in the normal school. So
Do you know why your parents chose that school for you?
No.
But obviously they felt it was
I
better than a traditional school.
I think it was because my mom was learning there,
Uh-huh.
and she thought it's much better than the normal schools.
Mm-hmm. I think by learning you mean teaching. Yeah.
Yes, teaching.
Yeah, that's because in the Slovak language the same word is used for learning and teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so students always get it confused and mixed up. Teachers teach, students learn in general. But of course, that's not the way that it should really work, because teachers should be learning all the time. Teachers should be growing. The very act of teaching should be personal growth, because in that way the student and the teacher both grow at the same time, and that's what's really important. You were in another country as well.
Yes.
Right. So which country was it?
The Netherlands.
Okay. And how long were you there for?
7 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Stick the cable behind your shoulder. There. Okay. Let's go. My cable's sticking out behind me as well. I can't do anything about it. Never mind. Technical stuff. 7 years is quite a long time to be in the Netherlands, right? So, do you speak some Dutch then?
Yes. Now it's quite difficult for me because I haven't heard or spoke Dutch for 5 years. I didn't use it.
What about? Sorry to interrupt you. What about friends that you maybe have there in Holland? Are there not people that you can? I don't know, Skype with or something like that so that you don't lose the language skills?
I love the language and I don't have such contacts because it was before 5 years and it was the internet and the Facebook and the Skype. I was young, so I hadn't stuff like that yet.
Yeah, 5 years ago it was not as easy to do all those things as it is today. When I came to Slovakia 15 years ago, I didn't have a computer. I didn't even have an email address when I arrived in this country. And now we fast forward in time a little bit, and you can't live without a computer in your pocket, and you can't run a business without that. You need to be constantly checking your email and observing what's happening on social media. So times have changed, and they will change again over the next 10 to 15 years. So can you talk a little bit about the education you had in Holland and the school that you went to there?
So from the beginning it was very hard for me because I didn't know the language. I came there and I was just listening to them. What are they talking to me? What do they want from me?
So you had to go into a classroom and you didn't even speak the same language?
No.
Wow.
And so it was very difficult, and I was young, and I was crying, and it was hard for me. But
there must be a word stronger than hard, because I mean that's an almost impossible situation for a young person to deal with.
Yes, but after, I don't know, it was less than a half year, I was talking Dutch like without the problems, and my parents didn't understood how is it possible, because they were also learning Dutch, but to them it took more than 2 years to know the language as I, but also they couldn't to say the words like me. And
well, why do you think that was? Why do you think you learned it faster than they did?
because I was learning it without books. I was just listening the language the whole day, and it was like automatically.
Was there a point where you felt, that's it, I have it, I can communicate now, or was it just a very, very slow process?
It wasn't the point. I didn't realize it at all. I was like just my parents were telling me that how is it possible that you are talking Dutch after not half year, and it wasn't the point. I didn't realize it because I was young, and I was just talking with my friends, with my classmates there. So
so it just happened naturally.
Yes.
For you. And you didn't sit down with grammar books and study it. Wow. So what was the school like there? Was the system there similar to the system here?
Yes, it was similar, but the age of the start, I was 3 years old and I went to school, but it was something like to prepare for the school just, and when I was 4.
Like a kindergarten or nursery school?
Yes, but it was connected with the school. It was.
Oh, okay.
It was something different.
Some special class. Yes. To prepare you.
And at the age of 4.
Sorry, what does that mean? A special class to prepare you? What do you do in why do they need a special class to prepare you? Is it so difficult to begin the school?
No, I think it was because, for example, in Slovakia, the children just at the age of 6 they go to school, and there it was from the age of 4. So the age of 3 there was something like to prepare the child for some stuff like learning and.
Okay, and what about the style of the school, the environment of the school, the style of the teaching? Can you compare that in any way with Slovakia?
It was different, and I'm thinking about it because I was young, but I know that.
I know it's hard to remember some things.
It was the biggest difference is that we were learning just in school. The teachers said us that it's forbidden to learn at home, and you have to learn at school and you have to relax at home, and then you have to come to school and to learn there and to go home and to relax. But I'm not sure if it's like that also when they get the higher class and the higher level. It was just from the first year to the 5th, because it's the like primary school, the first type. So this type was the system like this.
So it was basically a no homework system.
Yes, and also the books, we can't bring them with us to home. They stayed at school, and I came to school just with the food and the drink, the water, and it was everything.
And so what do you think about that? Is that good?
I wasn't relaxing at home at all, because I had also to learn Slovak, Slovak language and the rules in the grammar, because I was when I came to Slovakia to visit my family, my friends, and so it was like every half year, and I wrote tests in Slovakia here, just because when my family decided to went back to Slovakia, and I have to show them something like my grades or something like that. I wrote the test, and I can continue in the third class, or so I was learning, but not the Dutch stuff or the something from the school, but I was learning something else with what my mother gave me.
I'm thinking about this idea of that you should study at school and you should relax at home. It seems like on one side it seems like a practical solution to some problems, but on the other side I worry about this idea that you create the mentality that you can only learn in school, that school is learning and home is not learning. And I think we both know that in the real world you need to learn constantly all of the time everywhere you go. There's not just one place where you learn. Learning is a constant experience through life. And the other thing is that if you're not taking any of your work from the school home, then your parents don't really know what's happening in the school. Now, maybe everything in the school is great and fine, but there's very little way for the parents to check what students are doing in school, what level the mathematics is, what level the languages are, what kind of social studies and subjects are being taught. Is there any religious content to it? If parents can't monitor that, then there is the potential that maybe some things are happening which are not so good, and nobody will ever know about it. So that's a potential negative in that situation. As a parent, I would want to know what is happening in school, and so I'd want to have a look at the books that my children were using, and I would be interested. It's not that I would be checking everything the school does. I would just be interested to know, because if I know what my kids are doing, I can help them. And if I don't know what they're doing, then there's nothing I can help them with, because I don't really know. But each country has a slightly different way of organizing things, and there are usually some good reasons for why things are the way they are. Let's talk a little bit more about Slovak school that you're in at the moment. Are you getting from your education, from your school, everything that you want, or is there something missing? It's a big question.
So my answer will be no, because I didn't even know that this school where I went was separated, and it's like a scientific. It's like the main subjects are scientific, and it means that I have to make the final test. In Slovakia it's called the maturita, from two subjects of biology, chemistry, and physics. So I have to do it, and it's like they are saying me that I have to choose two of them, and even if I don't like them.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
It's not the phone, it's the door. And I have to open the door for somebody to get in. I'm going to pause it. We're going to take a pause for a few seconds, and we'll be right back. And so the great thing about technology is that you can have a little break and then continue. Just before we had this interruption, you were explaining something.
Yes, I was.
I can't remember what it was. What was it?
I was. You asked me if I like the education.
Okay, yeah. If you're happy with everything
Yes.
that is organized, and you were talking about the scientific nature of the school and the way it's designed, and this is a problem for the end of school exam, or?
Yes, because I don't like the subjects like this, like the scientific life. I like more the technical one or stuff like that.
So, would you like to have more technical subjects?
Yes, and less biology and chemistry.
Okay, so what kind of technical subjects would you like to have?
The informatics, but more professional, not just to work in Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel and.
So some practical, technological subjects. Is it possible to do some work with that in your own time by yourself?
Yes.
So you don't need school for that, or you don't have time to do that?
Yes, I have, but it's better to have a teacher, because also when I read about it something, so I don't have a person to ask what I don't understand, or it's just on me, and I found some of the subjects like there are some, I think there are 3 at least, that are unuseful, and they are just to be there and just to do something 45 minutes, and just to stay at school for 45 minutes longer.
So it's just filling the time?
Yes.
Okay. And are there other students who feel the same way about it?
Yes, I think the whole class.
Okay. Can you give me an example of a subject or a class which is not useful for the students?
We had it today. It was I had to woke up earlier than the normal because of this subject, and
was it a 0-hour subject?
Yes, 0 hour.
That means starting at 7?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know about you, but my brain is not really functioning at 7.
It's the same for me, but
in the morning.
It's not as bad as it's for my classmates, which are traveling each morning from destinations like 50 kilometers, and it's I think it's horrible for them. I'm from Banska, so it's not as bad for me.
So they have to wake up at 5 o'clock or something?
Yes, and before 5 o'clock.
Ooh. And then they travel to school and then from school home every day?
Yes.
So that's maybe like 1 hour to get to school?
Yes, something like that.
And then 1 hour to get home? There's 2 hours of traveling? Wow. Every day?
Every day.
which Monday to Friday, so that's 10 hours of traveling just connected with school a week. Wow, that's quite a lot, and I guess it must also be expensive as well to do that.
Yes, but the trains are free, so they are using them.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Yeah, that students can travel by train for free all throughout Slovakia. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's so cool, because you don't have to worry about paying for the train. You can just jump on any train and go anywhere you want.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea. It's a very nice idea. I like it. Okay. So the last question that we had was, do you feel satisfied with school? And you said that there maybe are a few things missing. What about the quality of teaching that you have in your school?
It's getting better because the teachers are, by time they're using more and more technical things like presentations and things like this, and I think it really helps them to explain something and to teach the students better and with but there are some I think it's more thing of the old teachers which they couldn't work with stuff like this, with the notebooks and with the presentations. So I can see the difference. It's a higher quality when you know work with the technical stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting that the teachers who know less than the students about the modern age are expected to teach the students, and that's a little bit crazy. And if teachers themselves are not learning, then how can they? And if teachers are not learning and not growing and not progressing and not going forward, they're sort of dying. Basically, if you don't grow and you don't move forward, you just survive, and that's not really the kind of environment you want to be in. You don't want to be in a school where the teachers are just surviving. You want to be in a school where the teachers have energy and enthusiasm and are channeling life into their subjects. What about the school building itself? Is it a good place for a school? Is there enough space in it? The environment, is that okay?
It's not bad, but it can be also better. But we a month ago we got new windows, so it's not cold in the winter anymore. And
was it cold in the winter
yes.
before? And it gets really cold here, right? It can be like minus 15 and colder. Wow. And windows are useful in a building. Let the light in and keep the heat in as well. Well, that's good. It's important to have these elements of progress. What about things like food in school and like do other school lunches, and is there some little shop where you can buy food, or what's it like?
Yes, there's also a little shop where can I buy my food and vegetables, fruit, and also yards and something to drink. But there was a kind of problem because the government said that it's forbidden to sell some products at school.
For example?
For example, the chocolate, because it's not healthy for the students. So I think that's
not strictly true. It's not chocolate that's not. Chocolate's actually original. The cocoa bean that chocolate is made from is actually really healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not chocolate that's unhealthy. It's too much sugar and other related chemicals that are used, which are not healthy. Because sugar is as addictive as cocaine, and it also means that people have problems focusing sometimes when they consume too much sugar. But I imagine that sugar is not the reason why students don't focus in school. It's probably just the fact they don't want to be there. Sometimes that's the reason why. The idea that government would care about students so much that they'd be worried about them eating chocolate is kind of funny. So the government decided anyway. So this is what happened, right? The government decided that it was a bad idea to sell chocolate in schools.
Yes, I think that the school is, as a school, just it's too bad, and if there wouldn't be the shop to buy some chocolate and something to drink, it will be far worse.
Yeah, it's also the fact that any shop in the free market has to provide what the customer wants. So if the students want chocolate, then the shops should sell chocolate. And I don't mean some of the cheapest, most rubbish kind of chocolate. I mean the shop can invest in getting good quality chocolate. And if the students want, they can pay more money and have good quality chocolate and be happy with that if they want. And if students can't get chocolate there, they'll get chocolate somewhere else, right? They'll go to some other shop and they'll buy chocolate and they'll take it to school anyway. So saying that you can't have that one thing in school is and then where do you stop, right? Oh well, it's not the chocolate, it's the sugar in the chocolate, and then it's like, okay, these sweets have sugar in them as well, and these donuts have sugar in them, so you can't have donuts there. And where do you draw the line? Your school probably has a Coke machine, right? There's some machine you put money in and get some Coca-Cola or something like that?
No, just normal in the bottle.
Just you can buy bottles of Coca-Cola there. So chocolate no, but Coca-Cola yes.
They wanted to stop many things.
I'm
not sure. I'm sure that there was chocolate and some sweets and also Coca-Cola, I think, and some chips. The not healthy things, and just the fruit they wanted to let. So
yeah, it's not a bad idea, but
I think if the students want the chocolate, so we will buy it somewhere else. So
yeah, they will go somewhere else and buy it. And I think it's also something that should involve the parents as well. The parents should have a say in what kind of food the school is offering to their children, naturally. But it's as if the students will not buy chocolate because the government says don't buy chocolate. I mean that might have the opposite effect. Like people might buy more, and then they would get that chocolate somewhere else and they take it into school and they'd start like an underground market with chocolate in the school, like selling it to other kids in the school, if they've got a kind of business mentality with it. So it could work, and then it would be like really cool and trendy and rebellious to have chocolate, and it could have completely the opposite effect. Okay. I think we have to, if we look at the clock over there, I think we have to finish, right? Okay, so I just want to say at the end of this little interview, thank you very much for your time and your ideas and your opinions. And not sure what I'm going to do with the video just yet, but it's always really interesting to get the students' opinions about education, because you are the customer, you are the client, and I think schools should be much more focused on making sure that the students have got what they need, as well as the teachers having what they need, and the parents getting what they need and being satisfied as well. And we didn't get on to private education and the school and things, but maybe some other time. Okay, I'm going to pause it right here. So thank you very much.